Welcome, everyone, to Around the ACL. It's Michelle Thompson here with Trey Ryder and Anthony Ione. And we got what I thought was a little break, at least for us. We didn't have to travel, but when I saw the list of events this past weekend, there was no break in cornhole. It went off this past weekend in the world of cornhole in terms of state championships. So we're going to get into all those winners in a little bit here, but we've also got an event coming up this weekend in Ramsey, Minnesota. It's going to be Shootout number 6 and Open number 14. There's going to be a live broadcast on ESPN2 at 8 p.m. Eastern on Friday, the 23rd. So everyone get ready for that. But yeah, big weekend for cornhole. Trey, did you catch any of it?
Yeah, I actually did some broadcasting for the Carolina Conference event. So I spent my Sunday here at the HQ doing
pro bono.
Some games.
Is that your pro bono work?
Yeah, it wasn't pro bono.
No, but the last time you did that, you're like, I'm not going to do this again. It's a lot of work.
Oh, that's right. He did say that.
I did say that. However, all of the live stream stuff is on the truck. So I had a very minimalistic setup of like just my laptop and a couple cameras that I could plug into my laptop. So setup and cleanup was like 25 minutes, which that's no problem. Like if I had to sit there and tear down like the entire live stream court like that Wally does, no, not doing that.
Out.
But it was and then hopefully we're putting in a permanent live stream court here at the HQ so that I know if I set anything up, I can just hook it up and go. And that'll be awesome. That'll be really easy. So,
that's got to happen.
But no, it was good. It was. I watched some regional cornhole action, so it was good.
Nice, Anthony. Did you catch any of the state championships?
None. Just results. Just kind of as the results were flooding in, and then I would dig in a little bit real quick into just some of the stats and finishes, but I didn't catch any matches this weekend.
Well, we asked on Baggin' and Braggin', Eddie Grindersleeve and Caleb Batson, who's the best player in Texas right now? And Caleb said, I guess we'll have to find out this weekend. Those were his words. So keep that in mind when we get into the winners a little bit later. But before we do, let's get into the Shootout and the Open happening this weekend. Trey, what are your thoughts on who's attending, who to look out for, and all that good stuff?
Yep. So off to Ramsey, Minnesota. I will not be there this weekend. So you guys are on your own. So you guys can tear it up in Minnesota. I've yet to go to Minnesota. It's like I've been to like 38 states, and it's one of my 12 that I haven't been to. So I'm like,
interesting.
Oh, so anyway,
well, somehow we made it through last time without you and Kat.
Yeah.
Somehow, how does that happen?
Yeah,
that was rough. That was rough.
Cat this weekend.
Okay.
So
all right.
You get Cat this weekend, but I'll be in Milwaukee, but then I won't be in Canton. So, and of course I'll be in Detroit. So, but yeah, it's gonna be it's a good one. I'm looking at the registration list, and I kind of forget how many really good players still haven't won a shootout.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at this going, oh my gosh. I mean, even if you just look at high-ranked players, Justin Burton Jr.'s there, Devin Harbaugh's there, Caleb Batson, Joe Niestedt, Fisher Hamilton, Ryan Wiedenfeld, Alex Rawls, Jamie Graham, Logan Chamberlain, Jacob Trzynski. That's just like players that's just men's singles.
It keeps going though. Hunter Thorne, Tanner Halbart, Jimmy Humans. Oh my good, Ryan Smith. That's his thing. That's his jam.
Yeah, the only people really not from that aren't there from the top like 20 something is like I'm just looking at this real quick. I don't see Alan Rawls, and I don't see Derek Holland. Otherwise, I feel like top 25 are there at least. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
It's
people waiting to the last minute, right, Trey? I mean, maybe that puts a lot of value in hitting those first couple. You get to the end and everyone starts panicking, and then the rosters just get tough.
Yeah, even on the women's side, you look at the women's side. Cameron Belvin, Bella Soprano, Sarah Cassidy, Connie Altice, Kimberly Glass, Kaylee Hunter, Yeti Irwan, Nicole Pratt, Allison Peters, Miranda Coy. I mean, literally I can't believe it. I mean, I looked at the number of people signed up, and it's lower than most of the other shootouts. So when I pulled the numbers, I was like, okay, it's going to be a little bit easier. And then I looked at the level of talent that is at this shootout. And I was like, my goodness, this is gonna be crazy. So now that we've kind of set this stage, I think it's really about looking at a couple different players and people that I'm looking out to, and specifically I'm taking this in the angle of who are my shootout people that win shootouts, right? So first name that comes to mind at the top of the list or first two names on the men's single side are Jamie Graham and Alex Rawls. Okay, both of which have last season for Rawls only, but even going back to the season before with Jamie Graham, historically they have really succeeded at a high level at these shootouts. Okay, they absolutely normally do that. Now, both Jamie Graham and Alex Rawls have had weird, not great finishes this year at certain events. Now, they both peaked at the Cornhole Mania in Erie. Alex Rawls gets his first ever win. Jamie Graham bounces back. He's second. So we're thinking, okay, we're all good now. They're back to where they were. And they kind of didn't live up to that. Where they finished in Erie, they didn't continue that over into the bag brawl. So we're also into pro shootout number 6, and they haven't won yet. So I'm saying to myself, what is going on right there, right? These are two players that have shown expertise and the ability to succeed in a round limited game, and we just haven't seen that yet this season. So I'm looking, hoping, watching for a bounce back. Same can kind of go for Cameron Belvin and Sarah Cassidy on the women's side, because they both, again, have experience winning shootouts. Now, Cameron Belvin, for whatever reason, does this every year. She waits until the last 3 to succeed, right? I mean, 2 years ago, she won 8. Last year, she won 7. Does this year she win 6? I don't know. But Cameron Belvin, this last half of the shootout is where we see her pull it together. And I think she was really close to doing that in Mesa. She just, it was in Mesa. But Gina Ramirez was just, she kind of came out of nowhere. So that was a big win for her. Kaylee Hunter is another one. Kaylee Hunter has won shootouts in back-to-back years, and we haven't really seen her come that close yet. I know she's got a lot of personal stuff going on. We could talk about Jamie and Kaylee and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, I kind of expected a little bit more, and I've expected a little bit more out of Kaylee Hunter, especially on the shootout side. So that's my first group of singles. My second group of singles that I'm particularly watching are these guys are on fire, okay? That is, for me, that's your Caleb Batson. That's your Fisher Hamilton. And even I'm going to throw in there Jacob Trzynski. I think all 3 of those players are absolutely on a tear right now. Jacob Trzynski, I think, is starting to get in the MVP conversation, even though Tony Smith can sometimes overshadow him. Trzynski is top 10 in singles, and he's obviously the number 1 team in the world with Tony Smith at number 1. Caleb Batson just won the Texas State Championship. We spoiled that surprise, I guess, if people didn't know that already, but just won that. He had Fisher Hamilton on the ropes, who was the most unbeatable person at the bag brawl. So he was close to taking him down there. And he just won a national in doubles. So Caleb Batson is not anybody that I want to play right now. Absolutely red hot. And then, of course, Fisher Hamilton, he just won a national singles event, right? He's right now, we'll see where he is in our power rankings later, but he's pretty darn close to the top. Let's just give away some hints there, right? So that's absolutely what I'm saying. And then if I had to pick one female that I'm identifying as a red hot right now, it's got to be Kimberly Glass for me. Kimberly Glass is having her version of a breakout year right now. She's a top 3 ranked female, which didn't come close to that last season. She threw a perfect game on television already when she played in that SuperHole. Yes, it was a SuperHole, but she threw a perfect game on TV. There's not many people that can say that. She's playing at a high level. So overall, I'm really ready to see if Kimberly Glass can get a shootout underneath her belt. Miranda Coy is maybe in that conversation. Well, I mean, I told Miranda Coy she had a cold in Portland. I said, you better be sick to every single event you go to if you keep throwing 10-8-6s for a PPR in a lot of these different games. So I'm kind of on the single side watching both your standouts that have normally succeeded in the shootouts and also those that are red hot.
Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a pretty good coverage. I guess maybe the different angle I could take at it, I'm looking at it and going, who could be our next Tennyson or Gina Ramirez? Or we saw in doubles, Almanza and Frazier coming out and winning that thing. So, like, on the double side, I see a Samantha Finley and a Steven Bernasset. Bernasset has won this in singles already. We saw what Samantha Finley did on the broadcast in singles for the women's. We know what she can do. We know she could come out and throw an 11 plus. And remember, these players are only throwing, 20 bags in doubles? 20 bags in doubles on a broadcast. Now a little bit more, maybe 2 more rounds more to lead up to that. But hey, what about a Samantha Finley and a Steven Bernasset coming out and winning this thing? Ethan Walker teaming up with Timmy Jonas. Timmy Jonas coming off of a state championship this past weekend in doubles, going through a Hissner Henderson. Ethan Walker, we see him kind of, that player that's kind of pushing the envelope, showing up in second and third. Maybe they come out and shock us all and win it. What about the Kufi? I mean, we saw them have a good run. What was it, in Myrtle Beach? It was Myrtle Beach, I think they had a really decent run. So in the double side, maybe those 3 teams could show up and be your next Almanza Frazier. On the singles side, I'll bring up Ethan Walker again in singles. A Blaine Rozier, who I think is leveling up, playing with some of the best players in the world right now constantly. And like I've said before, and we all know, we talk about it with these people that stay in comp, stay in advanced. You're going to be a better player when you just get beat up by the best. And I feel that that's where Blaine Rozier is at. But now he's becoming one of the best, becoming a better player. I can see him coming out and maybe shocking us all in singles. Alec Ryan, which we got a little glimpse of last season. We know that he's been kind of hot coming in, but then it kind of faded. So I think the nation might have forgot about Alec Ryan. But what about him coming in and reminding everybody, hey, I'm still here? And then a Carson Getty. We saw him win in open singles. But again, the nation on TV, all the people in their living rooms haven't gotten a Carson Getty yet. Can he come out at a single shootout and make a TV broadcast? Those would be some good, I think, ones we wouldn't expect. And then people coming in that need to kind of redo Hunter Thorne, right? He was basically a bag away from winning singles. And then we got Jamie Graham in the field, who we saw come out at shootout number 1 against Malone and just came up a little bit short. So what about those guys getting back in the mix and having a second shot at a shootout?
Sam Finley joked with me. She said, I do great once I get to the final stage. I just got to get there. Like she's like, I do better there than on my way to there. I'm like, all right, so you got to figure it out, Sam. You could do this. But like, she's they're great on TV.
Oh, she killed it.
Yeah, and maybe the only other thing I'll add on the double side is, first big picture, and then on the double side. Big picture is you have I like to talk about seeding for these pro shootout championships. So coming in, you're going to be the 6th seed. You win this one, okay? That would be a direct matchup with pro shootout number 3 champions. So that would be Tony Smith, Rosie Streaker, and then Noah Almanza and Jeremy Frazier, right? So one thing I find a little bit interesting is if you look on the double side, you have a lot of partners teaming up together. Sometimes you see a lot of these mismatch partners. We don't get that here. A lot of teams paired up. A couple that may be a little bit weird, Matt and Brett Guy, which is not really that big of a surprise. So if they would win, that would be a rematch of the Miami pro shootout where Almanza and Frazier took down Matt and Brett Guy. So might be a little bit of a revenge there for Matt and Brett Guy.
Hey, and not only do they want revenge, they sold. They were terrible.
Yes,
absolutely terrible. So I know they want to redo that one. That one was bad.
Yeah, and maybe they can blame outside as being a part of that, but they aren't outside this time. So
yeah.
But keep in mind, next shootout after this, Milwaukee will be outside, so it will be it's covered. It's covered.
Nobody tells me these things.
It's a secret.
It's covered.
This matters for wardrobe purposes, people.
It's a secret.
Yeah. You just got to be like a dude, just wear whatever, and just
it doesn't work that way.
Hey, this is Milwaukee?
Milwaukee. That's on site at Summerfest.
I was gonna say, what are the chances are that we have actually? Are we that close to Summerfest where
we're in Summerfest?
Oh, that's badass.
And we may or may not have a Summerfest performer playing in SuperHole.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Well, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so I mean, and then the only other weird one, I mean, because you have Lopez Richards, Hamilton Cano, Burton Jr., Chamberlain, Zockline Halbert, Humans Malone, Birchfield Rawls, Ruben Power, Foreman Creek Killer, Neistat Schermerhorn. So you got all of these. The only two weird ones that I think are worth mentioning are Caleb Batson and Derek King. Okay, that's a little odd, but
Batson is on something, and then you have Derek King, who
great doubles.
He's a world level player in doubles, right? So another odd team that could end up on TV. That'd be cool to see King back on TV. Come on.
Yeah, and then Ryan Windsor, Jacob Trzynski, which I kind of really like.
Ooh,
I mean.
That might be
because Jacob Trzynski's sitting here going, well, Tony Smith already won everything, so I guess I got to go do something else.
I got to go do something else. Actually, that's a good matchup because Windsor's not going to get into these with Hicks, right? So he's probably looking for a stable shootout partner for the rest of the season. Maybe that's Trzynski.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, good call. All right, let's get into the news around the league. I've got a list of state champions to go through. We're going to start it off with Texas.
I'm going to go take lunch while you read all these.
Yeah, you should. Everyone just go ahead and do your thing. Get your coffee, whatever you got to do. All right, Texas State Championship singles, Caleb Batson, doubles, Braden Wilson and Gavin Cano. Ohio State Championship singles, Jeremiah Ellis, doubles, Timmy Jonas and Eric Anderson. Carolina Conference singles, Jacob Gore, and he gets it again in doubles with Derek Holland. Pennsylvania State Championship, Gage Landis, who gets it done in doubles with Devin Mills. Florida State Championship, Fisher Hamilton. Boy, is he hot right now. Alex Rawls and Cheyenne Bubenheim. Mississippi State Championship, Tubby and Tice Cobb, and singles with Douglas Parker. Louisiana State Championship, Ian Cripps, and also gets it in doubles with Bryce Forbes. Alabama State Championship, Aiden Brown, doubles, Daryl Macon and Tyler Goodwin. Montana State Championship, Greg Silvis, and doubles, Brent Cathy and Nicholas Clausen. Congratulations to all the winners. There's a lot of them. And congratulations to those who did it both in singles and doubles. Not easy to do. And what do we think about Braden Wilson and Gavin Cano? I mean, I think of Texas and Florida as these, I guess Ohio too, like really big ones. I guess Carolina. I don't know. There's too many good states. But Texas, Braden Wilson, Gavin Cano, when I saw that post, I was like, let's go. Okay, that's not easy to do.
Yeah. I was maybe a little bit surprised. I'm not shocked. I can't be shocked by it, but I was a little bit surprised, right? Especially when you talk about all the other levels of talent that are out there. I mean, I didn't look at the full roster, but I'm assuming Justin Burton Jr. and Logan Chamberlain played. I'm going to assume Eddie Grindersleeve and Caleb Batson played. I'm going to assume AJ Sims and Jaime Sanchez in some capacity played. So, it's pretty brutal of a field to go to. And so for Cano and Wilson, I think it's really going to help Braden Wilson as he tries to get closer, up those standings. But ultimately, yeah, I think Gavin Cano was really impressive. For me, if I'm going to speak on one, it was the one I was at. So, when I look at the Carolina Conference, I had Jacob Gore take both. And in doubles, Derek Holland was above average. I mean,
yeah, I think Nick told me he was through like a 7 in a game.
Yeah, he threw like a 7-8-3 in like a semifinal. I mean, it was just like he was fine, right? Nothing wrong with it. Jacob Gore in doubles was absolutely disgusting. It was disgusting. In singles, he played not as well, but he still won. It's like he just he has such control over certain shots, and he knows. One thing that I've seen him mature over the past year is he's had the ability to both maintain a high level energy and maintain focus at the same time. For example, I think his brother can learn something from this. His brother this weekend did not do that. He had games where he was really good, And games where he's really bad, he let that eat him alive. Okay. Whereas Jake, there were times when he was playing and he wasn't doing well. You could tell he did something, purposely to reset. And then once he got a point or two, then it was about bringing the energy back up because he could continue to ride that momentum. He picked apart everybody that he played. Colby Shearer is a young kid. Again, it's just these young kids, they keep popping up. He did get Gore in game 1 of the double dip, 21-20, but he got beat pretty good in the second game. So, but just one of those guys that's going to hit roll bags if you give him the opportunity to hit roll bags, and if you force him into some other stuff, he might not be the same way. But ultimately, yeah, Jake Gore stole the show, and he's just playing an elite level right now. I don't see him going anywhere for the next few months.
Anthony, anything to add?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this will be good for everybody to just to kind of go through this real quick. But if you don't have the ACL Fan Zone app, absolutely get it ASAP. I mean, it'll change your world for anybody like me who's following stuff. So just for example, I'm looking at the Texas State Championship here and I'm going, okay, Batson coming out. We know how strong Texas is, right? I'm like, was Soto in there? Where did Burton Jr. finish off? Did Batson have to go through any of these guys, to get there? So in that ACL Fan Zone app, I think just 20 seconds. I think this is good for everybody. Once you're in there, and it's going to have the Stevie red normal logo, ACL Fan Zone, you click on ACL Game Zone, and right away I can search for a player. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say Caleb Batson. Okay, he's going to pop up, and right away I can say, let me look at all of his completed tournaments. So right away I'm going to click on that bad boy, and I can see the singles final state championship right away. I'm going to go into that. So right away, what pops open first? The bracket. So right away I can go in and see Caleb Batson had AJ Sims in the finals. So we got AJ Sims making it to a final. So I see Logan Chamberlain making it deep. I just wanted to point this out to everybody. I can go in and look at full standings, and there's some other stuff there. So I kind of did that with a few of these. Soto or Burton Jr. was in this one. Chamberlain was this one. Good to see AJ Sims making it that deep. And I just wanted to, let me see if I can pull this. I'm doing this live here, guys. Look at how crazy this is, because I was going back and forth with Sims a little bit earlier. My guy, AJ Sims, threw a 10.61 over 148 rounds.
Wow.
Took second place.
Second place. That's not good enough.
That might be the maybe top 3 PPR over 150 rounds that I've ever seen. And my guy took second place. So it goes to show you the level of talent. And you go down the list here and you see the Florida State Championship. You know that if I were to do that same thing on the ACL Fan Zone app, you would see a list of insane pros. And I actually looked it up yesterday and looking at some of the stats. I think there were 10 players in Florida with over 10 PPRs in that tournament. That is what it's going to take. It's going to take the hybrid game. It's going to take a 10-plus PPR, and it's going to take the ability to clean up the board and collect, and the ability to score in traffic. Both of those. You're not going to win state championships anymore with just a 10. You need a 10, a cleanup game, and the ability to score in traffic, and that's what all these players can do. So check out that ACL Fan Zone app. It'll change your life.
Appreciate the publicity, Anthony. Good
that
job.
was unprompted pitch right there. Thanks, Anthony. All right, let's get into the international events that happened. We also had the Belgium Open in singles, Mathieu Revolt, and he also won in doubles with David Parody. And then we had the Canada Open. Singles went to Dion Kuza, doubles, Bobby Sperry, and Daniel Faulkner. So congrats to our international events. Trey, what do you got?
Yeah, so first off, just looking at Mathieu over there from France playing in the Belgium Open, this guy's going to be a problem. When it comes to Olympic time, this guy's going to be a problem. I can tell you that. In a couple of years, when the United States is playing against these guys, you don't want to play Mathieu. So if you remember, let's go back a little bit to a full year ago. The ACL had its first ACL European Open. In that teams event, there were 3 games, right? They played 2 singles and a doubles, right? And everybody just expected the USA to win 21-0 in all 3 events. Team USA lost a game in that final, okay? Mathieu Revolt beat Justin Stranger head-to-head while he was over in Europe, okay? Now, he's got to develop his game. He's a bag runner right now, right? It's not the prettiest bag, but he's down the center, right? So France, I know, has got some shooters right now. So that's one thing I'm looking out for. He sweeps both singles and doubles. He's a guy that's on my radar. Bruno Bocquier, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, right? But he is also from France. He won the first European Open of the season in Germany, okay? And I believe he swept that as well, okay, when you talk about on the European side, okay? You talk about Bruno and you talk about Mathieu, they're both, and then Paridi is also from France. France is putting together a team out there, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Someone that you don't want to play, all right? So I'm just saying. If I'm going to add anything else, a second Canadian Open of the season, you had Dion Kuza win that in singles. Dion Kuza is also a problem. He is a high PPR guy. I mean, I watched him. So he's a Canadian. He's a pro though. He competed at the second national of the season when we were in Erie, Pennsylvania. I saw him and Tony Hughes. He picks up a random PDC player, right? Because he's PDC as well. They enter the bracket. The first game, who do they get? Of course, you got to play a top seed. So they play Joe Niestedt and Jeremy Schermerhorn, okay? Out of the gate, that was an 18-18 game when I walked up to it, okay? And no offense to Tony Hughes, but Tony Hughes hasn't been around that level of stage and that level of competition and played that high level before. Dion Kuza is putting it on Jeremy Schermerhorn right now. Jeremy Schermerhorn's begging Joe Niestedt down the other end to just finish the game. And Joe Niestedt did finish the game on that end. But I was saying, Dion Kuza is a player that people need to be thinking of, not just in the context of a really good Canadian player, but one that has a potential to have some really high upside on an international stage. So overall, that's who I'm looking at. There's a couple of these different Canadians that are starting to pop up as that is growing like wildfire up there north of the border. So that was a terrible pun. And that was not meant to be. That was a terrible joke. That wasn't even meant to be a joke. But the idea is like literally it's going everywhere right now. Cornhole is. And so you're getting a lot of these top players just starting to pop up all over the place. So you better start watching out for the Canadians up there. They're going to start winning some tournaments.
Anthony, anything to add?
Hey, just a question for you, Trey. Do all of these, so in the U.S., we have the 16 Opens, those roll up into some ranking. Do all these roll up into like a European ACL Europe ranking of some sort?
Yeah. If you go to right now on the website right now, you can look up European rankings, and they should be updated. I don't know if they're updated in real time, but let's see. You keep talking, I'll tell you.
Okay, so then my next thought was going to be, we use our open division, our open points to grant pro positions to certain players. Is this going to be the same thing? That'd be my next question. Does it roll up into some ACL Pro or ACL Europe Pro qualification as well?
Yeah, that program is being built as well. So literally, I mean, what we try to do is offer international spots so people can come and compete in these tournaments. Now sometimes it's hard to come all the way across the pond and compete, but I'm hoping we'll get some at the World Championships this year from Europe. We'll obviously get a ton of Canadians, but yes, that's the idea, is you're building out pros across the world.
Nice.
And yes, they're on the website right now. They have not updated from this weekend yet. But like right now, ACL Europe standings, Bruno is number 1 in Europe. So Bruno Bocquier, and then Mathieu is 6. So you got the top. Here the leaderboard: France, Germany, France, Germany, Germany, France, Germany, Belgium, Germany, 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 Germany. So France and Germany are leading the way out in Europe right now.
Clearly. All right.
Well, if a 6th place guy can take down a stranger, what can a 1 or 2 place guy do?
Right.
That's pretty interesting. I love it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And next up, we have our SuperHole we want to chat about. That's going to be on 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday the 23rd. Our teams are Ryan Lochte and Jay Dotson, Noah Almanza and Alexander Madison, Scott Porter and Tanner Halbert, and Josh Thielen and Kyle Cook. Trey, what can you tell us about the SuperHole?
Well, first of all, I One of my favorite TV shows of all time is Friday Night Lights. I don't know if you guys are Friday Night Lights fans. Or
I just watched it for the first time like 4 months ago. I know it's super old show.
Seriously?
Yeah, just started watching it.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Yeah, I know.
So,
well, I watched Ginny and Georgia. Ginny and Georgia is Scott Porter's current show, and I do watch that. But the way it came about because I watched Ginny and Georgia, and my sister-in-law said, "Oh, did you like?" He was in Friday Night Lights, and I said, "I've never seen it." And to which she was like, "What? Are you joking me? Go watch it now." So then I watched the whole series.
I have no idea what that show is, but for some reason, when I hear Friday Night Lights, it reminds me of like a high school football show or something.
Well, there's a movie.
It is. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's the movie and then there's the series, right?
Oh, it came off of a movie.
I don't know which was which.
Oh, okay.
No, the movie was definitely first, but the show, in my opinion, is better. But no, yeah, essentially, so who Scott Porter is on the show is Jason Street. Jason Street's the name of the character, Anthony, and essentially he's like the next Arch Manning, Peyton Manning, like huge prospect.
Okay.
And then in his senior year, he goes to tackle somebody and he breaks his neck on the field. Oh. And so he ends up permanently in a wheelchair. And so the story is like how they go through the rest of that season and then how the coach and the players move on and how Jason moves on with his life because he's now not a football player. He's in a wheelchair, right? So like, so Scott Porter plays the character Jason Street and he does a phenomenal job. And so it's one of my favorite shows of all time. So I can't wait. I can't wait to watch because I think Scott is great and you guys will meet him and talk to him. And then also, you know, you got some athletes, right? In Ryan Lochte and Alexander Madison. So Alexander Madison now, for those not familiar, the Vikings just released Dalvin Cook. So Alexander Madison is the starting running back of the Minnesota Vikings. Talk about a pure athlete on the stage. So last time we had athletes and football players on the stage, they played at a really high level. So
yes,
maybe not the level of Tim Settle Jr., but I'm expecting someone that's going to show up and, you know, have some skills, right? And then Ryan Lochte, an Olympian. However many medals has Ryan Lochte won? Like a bajillion.
Yeah.
And what he's
I'll use that quote on the broadcast there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. A bajillion. And because he's got the second most medals of all time of any swimmer besides Phelps, right? It's got to be something close like that, right? Or did I make that up? But
I know it's a lot though, but start hammering some research here real soon. Yeah, he was gangster in the pool though. I remember watching him, and wasn't he a good? Because I feel like as Phelps was going out, he was kind of coming in, right? Is that how they overlapped a little bit? I think he was on that team. Remember that like iconic relay that Phelps was a part of, and Lochte was. I think they were both on that relay. I think they went like 1 and 2 or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, so you got athletes on the court, which is all you can really ask for, right? But then what's really cool is, you know, you got some personality on there too from the pros. You know, cool for Josh Thielen. He's playing in his, you know, home state. He lived in Minnesota for what? He said almost 40 years he lived in Minnesota. So he's playing. Jay Dotson always going to bring the energy. So I think Jay Dotson is going to have a good time. But overall, I think it'll be a fun SuperHole prelim.
Anything to add, Anthony?
No, just the only thing to add, looking at the pros, I mean, it's Josh Thielen. These other 3 guys he's going against, very comfortable and familiar with the broadcast. We saw Thielen a little bit. I believe it was a shootout. It was a shootout in doubles. So he's got a little bit of experience, but to keep up and hold his end of the board, he's gonna be going up against some beasts.
That's so true. All right, buy or sell is next. Our first one being Fisher Hamilton will win Rookie of the Year, not Justin Burton Jr. Buy or sell?
This is tough because
flip the coin.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm gonna sell it because I think Burton Jr. Where Burton Jr. is right now, he has a first place finish, a third place finish, and like a really bad finish. So in my mind, he goes to Detroit. He's gonna drop that lowest. He's gonna finish well at Worlds. Fisher, I think, had 2 moderate finishes and plus the win. So I don't know. Overall, I think, and you also have to add into the fact that Justin Burton Jr. has the national doubles win, which is also going to hang over, you know, that conversation. Now, that isn't to say Fisher Hamilton and Gavin Cano can't come out and win a national in doubles. That's very well possible. But for me, I just think Burton Jr. is going to hang on and have a little bit of an edge, and he ends up winning Rookie of the Year.
Anthony, buy or sell?
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be a flip of the coin. And kind of touching on what you were saying about finishes, obviously they both have a national. If you go to their next best finish, Burton Jr. third in bracket, Hamilton fifth in bracket. Coincidentally, if you look at their worst place finishes, they both placed 45th in their worst place finish. So they're going to drop those. But to your point on the double side, it's going to take Kano, I think, really coming through. And he has been. We've seen him twice on the shootout. They just haven't been able to close. I think those boys can still threaten a national doubles championship. It's going to come down to winning a doubles, I think, is going to be the deciding factor on the flip of the coin if you can do that with Kano. So I'm going to, well, how did it read, Meesh?
Hamilton wins.
I'm going to go with Hamilton because I think that he has the momentum right now. I think he has the momentum right now going into the finish.
Interesting. All right. Bella Soprenant will pass Cheyenne Bubenheim again for #1 ranked pro female.
So I am going to sell this one as well because I think on an even playing field, they both have similar upside, and I really like the way Bella was playing. The issue is that Bella now, because she's missing that national, assuming she's going to Detroit, is now going to be a national behind.
Yeah.
Meaning that she's going to have to go in as a bottom seed and play a #1, #2, #3 seed, which really puts her in a tough spot. Now, what would be interesting, I don't know what the math is, but Cheyenne's now flirting with a 2 or 3 seed, right? Does Cheyenne end up having to play Bella like first round based on how it comes out?
That would be legit.
But I don't know. That's like a crapshoot, like 1 in 20 chance. But point is, I think I still think Cheyenne finishes #1.
Anthony?
Yeah, mathematically it is crazy in favor of Cheyenne's. I'll just throw it out there right now. If we drop Cheyenne's worst performance, she's 12th in the league. So I don't see that happening. Cheyenne's gonna take that.
The ACL MVP can win the award without winning a national, like Mark Richards or Devin Harbaugh if it ended today.
This is tough.
Wow.
So I think my logic is I'm gonna sell it. I don't think I would make #1 on my MVP ballot someone like a Devin Harbaugh, Mark Richards, who hasn't won something. And my logic is, if you finish the season #1, you win Man of the Year or you win Woman of the Year. So you're getting that award, and that's an award that recognizes someone who finished the standings #1, right? So MVP allows me to pick someone that I think is the most valuable. I mean, that's what the award is. So to me, someone across singles and in doubles, so it does bring across doubles. But to me, I think you got to win something. That's my personal opinion. I'm going to sell it. I'm only voting for a winner.
I feel like you have a lot of say in that, so that's good to know.
No, I get one ballot. Everybody gets one ballot. So
but who? Okay, but you decide who goes on the ballot, right?
True, but I'm usually pretty generous on the ballots. Like last year, I think I had some people on the ballot last year that was like, nobody's actually going to vote for this person. So I mean, the ballots are pretty big. I don't know. And there's like 20 people that get a ballot. Michelle, you're going to get a ballot. Your state as big as mine.
I get true. Anthony, buy or sell?
The Man of the Year angle completely makes sense. The other thing for me is I cannot think it would make sense to give an MVP award to a player that hasn't demonstrated the capability to close on TV. I mean, you can come in and you can take second in your bracket in these side courts, but the ability to get on TV under the lights in front of everybody under pressure and closing that off, sometimes twice, sometimes winning 2 singles matches on TV, that is a legit MVP in my opinion. You got to be able to do that to get MVP.
Canada will win silver at the first Olympic cornhole event.
You better watch out for France. Is all I'm telling you right now. France, give them 4 years. I'm still gonna buy it. I'll say Canada's gonna be the most ready, but France is gonna win. He's gonna win bronze right now. And it wouldn't take a lot of convincing for me to flip those. Just saying.
Yeah, Anthony.
I don't feel like I have enough background to. What about you, Meesh? What do you think about this one?
Well, I just think Canada has an advantage because they're not as new as France. I feel like Canada's been involved with us for what, 2 years or so, 3?
Yeah.
Something like that. And France has been more recent. So that would be the only angle I would take.
Yep. I feel that.
All right, last one. For the first time in his career, Matt Guy will go an entire season without winning a national in singles or doubles in a year that he's eligible to do so.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he didn't win in 2019 and 2020, but he wasn't a pro in those years. So, it wasn't the same thing. So you can't. But 2017, yes. 2018, yes. 2021, yes. 2022, yes. So we're running out of time. I have a standing steak dinner bet with Wally that Matt Guy will make it to a broadcast in singles. So I gotta stick with my bet. I'm gonna say he's gonna win something. Him and Jamie either win doubles or he wins singles at one of these last 2 events. I don't like my odds, but I'm standing by my proposition. Damn it.
Anthony.
I'm in line with that. I mean, this is the GOAT of cornhole. I know Trey hates that word, but if we look at history, Matt Guy is that guy, and he's still in the mix. Yes, he's showing a little fall in the ranks because of his style, his play, his decision making. He's sticking to his guns on how he approaches the game, but he's still the GOAT. So until he goes a season without winning one, I'm going to say he's going to win one.
All right. Buying. All right, we've got singles power rankings. We're going to start with you, Trey. Go ahead and let us know who you got.
Oh, Anthony's not going to like these.
Uh-oh.
So I have a top 6 player that is not in my top 10, and I don't know where to put him. Okay.
Alan Rawls.
So just here we go. Number 1.
I'll say the same thing.
I thought about this over and over again. I was like, he just won the last event. Give me a reason I shouldn't have Fisher Hamilton at number 1 right now. And it's maybe his first national, he didn't play that well. It's like, okay, well, this is a power ranking. This isn't a year-long ranking. This is a power ranking. Fisher Hamilton's got the power right now. Fisher Hamilton, number 1, okay? Number 2, I got Justin Burton Jr. I still think he's number 1 on my MVP race. And he still looked really good. When I watched him play, he had this crazy, shocking loss to Matthew Creekiller. It was just mind-blowing. Like, we didn't know what happened, and he turned around the next game, and he was just like, he didn't know what way was up. It was almost like he got punched in the face, and he didn't know what happened. The guy is still incredible. So I have him at number 2. I want you to see how long it takes for me to get to Devin Harbaugh, who is our number 1 player in the world right now.
Oh, yeah, still going.
Number 3 is Mark Richards. Now, you could argue and say, well, Devin Harbaugh and Mark Richards, wouldn't you just put Harbaugh over Richards based on the same thing? No, I wouldn't, because Mark Richards shows that he can win time and time again, like Anthony said, on that main broadcast court. I'm still kind of waiting for Harbaugh to
finish,
put that all together in that same regard. So I got Mark Richards at number 3. I think he's an MVP candidate as well. Number 4, I got Caleb Batson. Caleb Batson, he was number 3 in the rankings. So I got Batson all the way at 4. I don't want to play Caleb Batson right now. He just won a Texas State Championship. If he doesn't run into Fisher Hamilton, he might win the entire national in the first one. And he just won a doubles national. I don't care. He's there. Number 5, Tony Smith.
Still no Devin Harbaugh. One of
the hottest players on the planet right now. If Harbaugh had beaten Tony Smith at the last national, I would have Harbaugh first, Smith second. Smith beat him, so I get Tony Smith at 5. Harbaugh.
You get 20 seconds, Trey. 20 seconds.
Number 7, I have Jake Gore. I watched him this weekend, Carolina Conference. Number 8, I have Alan Rawls.
Oh, he's on there.
You thought that was the guy that wasn't going to be in my top 10. Number 9, I have Alex Rawls, who's not even in the top 20 right now because of a terrible experience, but he just won a national. Number 10, I have Matt Guy.
No Jamie Graham?
Me. I have no Jamie Graham.
No Jamie Graham.
no Joe Neistat in my top 10.
Wow.
Joe Neistat's going to burn my house down. I'm sorry.
Anthony.
Wow.
What do you
Okay,
got?
I'm gonna take a little bit different angle. I am going to go off of, I know power rankings is how I'm feeling right now, but I'm gonna give you pure data. I am
Of course you
holding the
are.
top 10
Shocking.
players. I am holding the top 10 players in my hand right now if we dropped worse performances. These are your top 10 players after dropping points.
Okay.
Number 1 in the world is going to be a Justin Burton Jr. Why? He won the whole thing, and he took third, or he won the whole thing and won his bracket. You put those two together, he's the number 1 player in the world. Number 2, Fisher Hamilton. If you drop worst place performances, Fisher Hamilton right behind him. We talked about how they tied at 45th in their worsts. Those go out. Fisher has a 1st and a 5th. Burton Jr. has a 1st and a 3rd, so he's got him barely. And Trey, you had those ones swapped. The number 3 player in the world right now, if you drop worst performances, Alex Rawls is number 3 in the world. He's your number 9, Trey. Number 4 in the world, Devin Harbaugh, if you drop worst, hasn't won the whole thing yet and pretty consistent. He's got a 2nd overall, a 3rd in bracket, and a 5th in bracket, so pretty consistent. Number 5, this one might surprise you a little bit. Number 5 in the world right now, if you drop worst place performances, keep in mind how important those bonus points are. Jamie Graham, number 5 in the world right now. If you drop worst place, he took 2nd overall, so he got 10 bonus points off of that. And at the last national, he was 9th, or excuse me, he was 9th in his 3rd in his bracket, 9th overall. So that's going to help him out quite a bit. Tony Smith is tied at 5th with Jamie Graham. You had him at 5th. He's tied at 5th if you drop his worst. Dropping worst for Alan Rawls, which is crazy. Bracket win, bracket win. He's still only 7th in the world because he doesn't have the bonus points. You got a guy sitting at 7th who has won his bracket twice and still in 7th place. Those bonus points are really, really important. Number 8 right now in the world, if you drop worst place performances, Mark Richards. I love you putting him at 3rd place, Trey, because he is the most consistent player in the world right now. He's got a 2nd overall, a 3rd overall, and a 1st in bracket. 2nd in bracket. Yep. So that's how consistent he is. And then tied at 8. And these are actually 3-way ties. So pretty interesting going into the 4th national. 3-way tied at 8. Mark Richards, Jake Gore, Matt Guy, all tied at the 8th position, which gives you 8, 9, 10 to finish up my top 10.
So you don't have Joe Neistat either. I'm telling Joe Neistat. I'm telling Joe Neistat. I'm telling him.
Oh, he's coming for you both. You better give him some love in your hot take.
Yeah, all numbers.
All right, what's your hot take, Trey?
All right, I'm riding who's hot stays hot. Pro Shootout men's singles champion this weekend, Caleb Batson takes it down.
Okay. Anthony.
I'm going to go with singles shootout. Hot take. Just won a state championship in doubles. I'm going to go Gavin Cano. Shocks everybody. Wins shootout. Stop playing.
Well, man, I feel like we got to carry on the Texas, and I'll take Fisher.
Oh, it's all.
I mean, you might as well. I was going to go women's, but I like this better. So it's either Caleb, Gavin, or Fisher. Those are our hot takes.
Texas wins.
Texas wins no matter what.
Well, Fisher's from Florida.
Fisher's Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, I was.
Oh, you said
Texas
yeah.
Because
I went Gavin Cano.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you said Fisher.
Texas because those.
No, give us your women's take then. I want the women's one too.
You want the women's one? Okay. Well, I was going to go Cameron Belvin for women's.
I like both. She's got Fisher and Cameron. She's got 2. She's going to win them both.
Yeah, I better. Well, Fisher's been really hot, but Florida being an equally tough state as Texas. All right, that's all we got time for today. We'll see you guys all next time.